Hello, my students. Today we're going to start another grammar lesson, and today's lesson is about the first conditional. Today we're going to master about the first conditional, and by the end of the lesson, you will be able to identify the structure of the first conditional to formulate sentence about the real future possibilities and to use this structure accurately in real life conversation. So let's dive in. To begin with my lesson, I will start by building context and I will prepare a pre-activity to activate your prior knowledge. Class, look, this picture. Imagine tomorrow's weather. If it rains tomorrow, I will stay home and read a book. But if it's sunny, I will go to the beach with my friends. Notice what I'm doing here. I'm talking about real life possibilities in the future based on one condition. What about you? What will you do? What will you do if it rains tomorrow? So think a little bit about it. Now, let's explain and clarify the grammar. The first conditional is used for real life situations like in the future that are going to happen in the future. The structure consists into two parts. The conditional clause, which is using the if plus the simple present, and the result clause, which is the one that we use with the verb, the word will and a verb in the base form. So here we have the structure, so pay attention. If plus the simple present following for a comma, then the word will plus a base verb. For example, if two students um, want to put will right after if, I make sure to clarify that we never put will inside in a if clause. We don't say if it will rain, we if it rains. Also, it reminds that the if clause comes first and we must be using the comma after. So now let's look at this structure, the key rules for the conditional. As you can see on the slide, the formula is simple. You use the if plus the present simple, then followed by a comma, then the will clause, which is the will plus a verb in a base form. For example, if you study hard, you will pass the exam. When presenting this to our students, I will really want to highlight the two critical common mistakes. First, the will trap. Students also or people used to often want to put the will inside the if clause, as I said before, and I explicitly teach them to never put it into the if clause right after. If you don't say if it will rain tomorrow, we say if it rains tomorrow, I will stay home. Second, one punctuation rule, and that is the if clause. The if clause comes first. If we must use the comma to separate the two clauses, but if we invert the sentences and put the will first, for example, you will pass the exam if you study hard. So in this case, the comma is not going to be needed. So I clarify this to prevent some common errors during the practice, so pay attention to that. Now for the while activity, we have a while activity. So in transition, students from guided practice to feared communication first, we are going to do a quick fill in the blank practice, and you are going to be using the word to build confidence, and then we play the conditional chain game in person. So we prepare for that. One student give a condition the condition, and the other one builds the result. For instance, students A, if I pass the exam, I will celebrate. And the student B, if you celebrate, you will invite your friends. So you have to choose a partner to if you want to participate for this activity. So for our post activity, students do a real world writing task called the advanced column. In groups, they have to read imaginary problems from peers and write 3 conditional sentences offering different advices. For example, if you talk to a teacher, he will help you to fix your grade. Another one, if you make a daily schedule, you will manage to take your time better. Those are some examples for our post activity. So remember the 2 columns. In one in group, they have to read imaginary problems from their peers, and you have to write 3 conditional sentences offering them whatever advice you want to give them. So finally, let's discuss uh, how learning is going to be assessed in this case. So the assessment is going to be first formative because during the pair activities I will circulate the room and observation way just to checklist to promote your pronunciation, correcting of the use of the simple present versus the will clause, and also I'm going to be checking the peer collaboration. And for our summative evaluation, which is about your exit ticket, at the end of the very end, students, you have to complete 3 questions. Exit ticket. So on paper or digital using our virtual classroom, you are going to combine 2 sentences correctly. In this case, or for this activity, I will prepare you a Kahoot so you can work on there and it's going to be easier for you. So they have to combine 2 sentences correctly using the first conditional, and I will evaluate your work using a simple rubric focusing on grammar, the grammar accuracy, and the contextual appropriateness, and of course the class participation because all of you have to participate. So at the end of this class, I'm going to be sharing with you the link for the Kahoot for this activity, and remember it is a summative